like if you're a woman who's part-time or your children are in daycare, or you have to run down to the market and just get a few things and run back, this thing is beautiful for that. It's banking pizza, meeting your girlfriends for yoga. There's a woman I know who doesn't have this. She has a 50cc scooter. That's the type that goes on the right-hand side of the road. It's legally more like a bicycle, but you need a license, not a motorcycle license, but a regular license to ride one. And they're pizza. I mean, they go on the side of the road, they do their thing. I think the only drawback is they're a little confusing. I don't think people fully know what the hell they are, whether to pass them or not. But they're great. And a lot of women, you can do your buzzing around on that. And sure, you can do it on a bicycle too. I mean, if things are close enough. I would advise a bicycle over anything. A bicycle is under your own power, and there's something about the physicality of bicycling that is superior to being on a scooter or a motorcycle. So a motorcycle is the symbol of freedom, and it's difficult for a woman to access for so many reasons. Fear, our confidence is lowered. The physical size of the motorcycles are difficult for us to maneuver, and even though we are the number one demographic learning how to ride, they're not designed for us. Now, I was a hockey player when the shoulder pads looked ridiculous. They had these little plastic boob shields, literally, like a shield on your boob. They were hysterical. I mean, and it was difficult. Some girls, I have big feet, but a lot of women had trouble finding hockey skates that fit. It was hell. The pants drooped off because we have hips, so you had to buy giant pants that got around your hips, but then they drooped, so you needed the suspenders. I mean, we went through hell to play hockey. The gloves were too big, so nothing was really fitted for us. But over time, you have college hockey. I mean, you have more whip in the blade and the sticks themselves. Skates come in all kinds of different styles and sizes. It's just more doable for a woman. Whoa, that was kind of leany. It's just more doable for a woman than it used to be. I almost low-sided. That was kind of, I don't know why I did that. More doable for a woman to play hockey, but it was very hard when we started. And I think and I'm the lucky one to be always on the edge of things. I think that maybe the manufacturers are beginning to realize that their biggest demographic are female riders. So will they start giving us things that we can ride? Even this, and I love this bike, but I have bigger, longer fingers. The brakes are a little far away, and I'm not sure if they can be adjusted. And I'm not mechanically inclined. I should be more mechanical. I actually am mechanically inclined. To take that back. I'm untrained mechanically. So I don't know if these little levers can be adjusted on the PCX 150 so that they're closer. But I'm not clear about that. But anyway, so the scooter, honestly, is a very accessible device. And I say that to men, too. Like, some men are like, ugh, motorcycles. The other thing is I talked about the co-ed hockey. It really freed the men, because they didn't have to be about crushing each other and protecting their ego or masculinity to prove something on the ice, because the girls were out there. They got to play and enjoy it, use stick handling, shooting skills. I mean, nothing kept you from taking a snapshot or a beautifully feathered upper corner shot. I mean, the skill set out there was great. And some of the girls were better than some of the guys, because the girls tended to be from my league, so we tended to have a lot more ice time than some of the guys who just went once a week. So the girls were a little bit better, I think, on average, but the very best players were men. But anyway, but it just was very civil, and it was very, you really got to practice your skill set, and it was a wonderful time. So I think, too, just as it kind of made it an opening for men, it wasn't just benefiting the girls out on the ice. And we got better because we're playing against fast guys, right? Because so we get better, and the men get to play without having to prove anything. And the other thing is that we were so equal out there because we had known each other for 25 years. There wasn't that, like no man felt like he had to lay two hands on the back of some woman's calf because she was faster. It was just like, there was just admiration and respect. It was wonderful. So as far as motorcycling goes, not only could a more open idea of women riding would make a motorcycle accessible to more women, it might make it accessible to more men. Because we kind of think of motorcycling as being for like the cigarette smoking, guy who has a secret death wish. That, I don't know, that may be a stereotype, but not for women who don't want to die, and frankly, for men who don't want to die. So it would be accessible for all of us. I'm trying to lift my eyes up a little bit. I think I'm looking through the turn, but sometimes my eyes are low. But anyway, so through practice, I think anybody can do that. But culturally, and I think this is especially true in Massachusetts, it's all about the huge motorcycle, right? It's all about the Harley or the Indian. And like, how many miles are on your Harley and how many miles are on your Indian? Like, I confess that in the cold weather I see Indians and Harleys. I really don't see naked bikes like mine out here in this cold weather, because they have the fairing. It protects you a little bit more. So I'm not saying there aren't hardcore riders who have those big bikes, but a lot of times people just buy them and they're too damn big, and they're not going to use them because they're terrifying. If you want to get introduced into motorcycling, and you like the idea of being on two wheels, a scooter is a very dignified, great way to go. And I say to start, I almost said to start, it's a great way to end. I mean, as I said, I love the Street Twin. It was a very risky purchase on my part, because I wasn't sure that I would. It's a big bike. Like I say, it's stuck in the damn mud, so it's not being used right now, again. And they're fussier, they have a chain, they're more to maintain. Even the Street Twin, which has low maintenance, but, I picture the chain is oiled and do the things that I may not be the most qualified or best at, although I'm going to work on that. On the scooter is kind of very, very low maintenance. The tires go. I found that I had to replace one of the tires, but I'm on 12,000 miles, and I don't think I've replaced the rear yet, although that may be ready to go by now. So but it's a twist and go, and you can enjoy being like a motorcyclist, except there's no like shifting, and they don't slow down. It's a carpet. It just goes. It's not as powerful, but in a way that's really good, because you can't get yourself in any trouble in that way. All that being said, you can get yourself killed on a scooter if your eyeballs aren't paying attention, just like on a bicycle. Get yourself killed. And turning is very different. I was a bicyclist. I still am. Love bicycling. But when you get to these speeds, 30, 40 miles an hour, turning is very different, and that takes a lot of practice. And they teach you to look through the turn and all that kind of stuff at the classes. But the classes are designed to have you pass the class. And I've always felt it was a conflict of interest that the people who teach the class are the same people who get to say whether you pass the class. I think that, quite frankly, the state should come down and test everyone, get a lot of people out of the way at the Registry of Motor Vehicles, and a objective state-run institution like the Registry of Motor Vehicles should make that assessment to see if you're good enough to pass the test. Because who's going to take learning classes from a class that fails you, right? They're going to, you're not going to take classes from them anymore. So that's what it is. But as I say, freedom is movement, and the motorcycle is the ultimate expression of freedom of movement. And it's not easily accessible all the time to women, especially. Even and especially the gear. The gear is ridiculous. The coat I'm wearing is a Johnny Rocket, and I don't know that I would advise this kind of motorcycle jacket. The zipper just unzips if you don't do it perfectly. It just tears apart as it's zipped up over you, and very difficult to unzip. But it's a man's jacket that I'm wearing, because it's made much better than the equivalent female version, which is always true too. A woman's version of anything is always cheesier. But the jacket is not designed for hips, so it's long. I mean, it's big, but it's not huge, again, because I'm lucky. I'm a bigger woman, so the arms aren't, around my fingers. The arms are a little long, but not not terribly. And it's not dangerous. It doesn't interfere with with my controls. But finding pants, I have yet to find pants. I'm wearing my husband's right now. They're kind of too big. Finding pants for a larger woman, good luck. They're all like, we give it up to size 12. Aren't we wonderful? We offer size 12. I haven't been in a size 12 since I was 12. So, if you're a smaller woman, that might be one of the small advantages, is equipment might be more available to you. But guaranteed it'll be cheesier than what's available to the men. This is kind of irrelevant, but a good point. I've talked about this before. I'm a bicyclist. I like to take my bicycle and pedal out. And it's why I got the scooter, because I thought, man, if work wasn't so far away, I could bicycle to work, because it's wonderful being out here. But, so that's why I got the scooter, and it was just great. And I also like to go to the library on my bike, but books on my bike wasn't practical. And I thought about getting a different bicycle. Anyway, long story short is that I enjoy bicycling, and a lot. And so I do I probably averaged, I average now about 1,200 miles a year. That's not huge, but it's a lot of miles. And back in those days, I was averaging probably about 16. So I come in because my bike chain is crap, and I go to the place where I bought my bike chain. This is a bicycle, not a motorcycle. And I say to the guy, geez, this chain, my gears are just really funny, and the bike is fairly new. And he sees that I put 300 miles on the bike. He's like, oh, you ride a lot. I guess I'll give you a decent chain. And I was like, what? As opposed to a crappy chain. And I was like, and this is the store that I bought the bike from. And he just said it to me, like, I'll give you a decent chain. Oh, because, women don't really need good chains, right? I mean, they don't need really good ones. They don't really use it anyway. They don't really ride. And that's what we're up against all the time. It's small things like that, and big institutional things like clothes that don't fit. This person who said that they were into women motorcycle riders and they do gear for women, and it was all like sex pot stuff. I said, gear for women? This is just, my trophy on my pillion trophy on the back of my motorcycle. This is not motorcycle gear for women. So it's tough. But it's surmountable. And I think the PCX 150, honestly, is a great bike to learn to ride. Because, first of all, because if you're female, no one's going to say, what are you doing on a scooter? I mean, they do. They've said it to me, but I don't care. As I say, like, there was this girl that I met. She got herself a Ninja 600 or whatever it is, the Ninja one that everybody, the sports version. And I was like, how many miles do you have on it? She was like, 3,000, I think. I said, well, how old is it? And it was like 3 years old or 4 years old. And I was like, so you don't really ride it? She was like, no, and I was like, maybe because it's a speed bike. Maybe you're not like, into having your heels in the back and your jaw on your tank. Like, maybe you need a upright motorcycle that's more conducive with the world that we all live in. Like, who can race on this, right? This is scooter world. This is what I love the scooter. Although I gotta tell you, the Street Twin handles this pretty well now. Now that I'm better at it and my shifting's a little better, the Street Twin's no problem for traffic either. But anyway, so it's accessible. You just have to kind of work hard at it, like have a certain determination. And the second thing I would say is really practice at getting good. Like, there's a lot of videos out there and a lot of purchasable videos that teach you how to ride, and it applies to scooters too. Like, Ride Like a Pro does not really address scooters. Like, everybody kind of leaves scooters alone as if they're fake, but you have to learn how to slow ride on this too. Okay, I guess I'll do this. So you can go. so I, learned how to brake and accelerate at the same time so that you can slowly, like, seat that rear down and take care of it. I looked at a lot of YouTube on a different country, because other countries use scooters all the time. America's weird that way. And he talks about how to brake and how to squeeze the brakes gently, and the new PCX even has ABS brakes. All right. I mean, can you go that fast for ABS? But I've never, just so you know, I've never locked the brakes on this thing. But I also, as I say, I practiced in a parking lot. Now, not to say that something hideous won't happen to me someday, one day, but I've got 1,200 miles on this, pretty close, I guess, yeah, 11.5, and I've never dropped it except for once in the mud. I did drop it once in the mud, and by the barn, but that was because it was all loaded with mud, and it was kind of funny because I accelerated because I didn't fully understand the acceleration. I haven't dropped it in the mud since, but I didn't fully understand the acceleration, and I accelerated, and this tire just spun out and it bucked me like I was on a bucking bronco. I just went flying. It was kind of funny. I laughed. I mean, I wasn't hurt at all. I was wearing gear, so I was fine. That being said, I did see this study on people 50 and over and our reaction time compared to a 25-year-old, and it was stunning. I mean, you know how you're in denial as you age, like what you lose. We kind of are in denial about what we lose as we age. And reaction time was stunning to me. It's a nice motorcycle, but unlike the scooter, it can get me in a little bit of trouble. Like, you can go 50 miles an hour and not really realize it. That's what I love. Was that a classic? Isn't that a classic? See, I wasn't going too fast. Thank goodness. Woo-wee! That was like on a twisty, and something like that pulls out in front of you.